Hey everyone, welcome to the I Dare You podcast. This podcast, it's all about you and helping you reach the big goals that you have for your life and what next steps you want to take to get there. I'm your host, Darrin Johnson, and welcome to episode 150. That's right, 150, a mini milestone. And if you're here for the very first time, I'm not sure who turned you on to I Dare You, but they really must love you. Welcome to you. Glad you're here. And for those who have been here since the beginning or listening for a while, welcome to you as well. Make sure you're subscribing and following the show because when you do, every Tuesday morning, you will have a brand new episode of I Dare You dropping right to you. You don't have to think about it, and you are set for the week. Well, episode 150, we've got a very special guest. She's a recurring guest. She was with us a couple of months ago, Darrin Johnson. Hannah is a leader with a Fortune 5 company, also has a side hustle, passion project doing very well at Baking with Hannah Renee. And speaking of that, we got pumpkin pie in the oven. We're recording this on Thanksgiving. Hannah, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's so good to be back. I was nervous the first time. I'm nervous again, but we're going to roll with it.
So, Hannah, highlight of Thanksgiving so far, outside of the pumpkin pie that's going to be, you should hear the beeping here any minute.
Seriously, it's just about done. Well, we went to the gym this morning and had a really epic workout. Super awesome, strong community at the gym, really
Nice.
family oriented. And they are so motivating. I would never, ever do a workout like that on my own.
You're right.
It was rough. I mean, I felt sick throughout because you're just constantly moving through burpees and pull-ups and power cleans. And it was a mix of everything in the gym, box jumps, wall balls. I mean, it was a lot, but it was incredible. So it was so great to start the day like that.
It's good. No, I was encouraging you, but I didn't know if you were going to make it.
No, you were, and I think you lapped me. There's the timer.
Yeah, there it is.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay, so while you're getting the pumpkin pie, let me keep going here. Everyone, since we last talked, we had the election. And so we're going to briefly talk about that, got some hot topics to talk about. But then we're really going to dive into some leadership lessons that we all can learn from Wicked. Now, if you've not seen Wicked yet, and you may just be sick and tired of the whole topic of Wicked, but we're going to talk about the leadership lessons there. Okay, whatever you think.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, hold on. 3, 2, 1. Okay, you're back. How was the pie?
You know what? It needed 5 more minutes. That's the tricky part about baking that I think some people don't realize is you'll look at the recipe and see the bake time. You also really have to watch it because a lot of times it needs more time or maybe in some cases less. So that's where I think people run into issues, honestly. When I try baked goods from like friends or coworkers, you can just tell. And so the pie needs 5 more minutes.
That's right. Okay, the lesson there, everyone, is get out of your comfort zone, try, adapt. Sometimes you're going to succeed, sometimes you're going to fail, but the point is you're in the game. So I can't wait, Hannah, in 5 minutes to try that pie. Yeah. All right, so that's the beep. Another 5 minutes in the pie. So listen, I'm going to keep going here. Look, there's something else, though, that I want to chat with everybody, and that has to do with, I'm going to stop right there. Okay, we're checking the pie. Is it good? Dipping the knife in. Does it come out clean? Another 3 minutes, Hannah. Another 3 minutes. Yeah, do that. Okay. Yeah, this is our high-tech pod studio in the kitchen. Microwave timer is on, and here we go. All right, so now let's get off this heavy politics stuff. We have more to talk about in future episodes on that. Before we get into leadership lessons from Wicked, I can't wait to get your take on this. Look, leadership lessons from Wicked. Can I ask you a question, Hannah? As you know, I don't watch a lot of TV, but Dancing with the Stars, what am I missing on this?
Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with Dancing with the Stars this season. First of all, we had the most finalists I think we've had ever in Dancing with the Stars history. Don't quote me on that because I could be completely wrong. But, America, so we actually voted. This was one of the seasons where they had the most viewership voting happening.
So that's the MSNBC viewers are now Dancing with the Stars.
Right. You know what? Honestly, I think you could be right. And I think too, like the finalists of the show were just a part of like a really diverse group of individuals who were all, I think, really inspiring to people as well. So I'm obsessed with Danny.
Danny Amendola.
He is amazing. I think he's my celebrity crush, or what do you call that? Athletic crush.
Sure. Well, he's a former football player, New England Patriots. So right. That Danny, right?
Exactly. He's amazing. So as you're watching Dancing with the Stars, the cool thing is that you really get to know them as people. You kind of get clips of them with their families and their friends, what matters to them. And then you get to see this partnership grow between them and their dance partner. And they start out super rocky. I mean, even if you've had dancing experience, it's super awkward to get that up close and personal with a random person you just met, you know? And they're having to channel these storylines. I mean, they get into it. And then as the season progresses, they're doing flips. I mean, and Danny, I mean, the Danny and Whitney dance went viral. You know, the one where I forget the song, but his foot is out there and her foot is on his and he's pulling her by the leg. Oh my gosh. Everyone was trying to do it and no one could do it because you can't replicate what they had. I mean, it was just the chemistry and...
Okay, well, that's Danny Amendola and then Whitney Carson. Is that right?
Yes.
Is Whitney from Salt Lake?
Actually, you know what? I should know this.
I think she might be.
I think she is too.
I need to follow up on that. I may be thinking of someone different. Okay, so you're clearly into Danny. What about, look, what I know is there's this Olympian, Steven Netarasic, is that how you pronounce it? The pommel horse guy. He helped the Team USA win bronze for the first time in, 15, 16 years. What about Steven? Did you see that pommel horse dance?
You know what? Honestly, gosh, so he's incredible. And I think he went viral, number one, right, during the Olympics, obviously. And then to have him be on Dancing with the Stars soon after the Olympics and be partnered with, gosh, I want to say it's Riley.
It is Riley.
Is his partner's name. And she actually has quite the journey as well. Like she has a health journey that she's recently shared, I think in women's health, but super close with her family as well. I believe that this is like one of her first seasons as a pro coach on Dancing with the Stars. So to see her go, or both of them go all the way to the finals, it's just...
That's great.
Unreal.
Well, this is season 33 of Dancing with the Stars. You know what? I'm realizing I may know more about this than you do.
I don't know about that.
All right. So what do you predict? Who's gonna win this? And there's the pie beeping again. Will you get that timer off and get the pie out of the oven? Checking the pie and... Yeah, that's good. Success. So as Hannah's pulling the pie out, we're going to talk about the Golden Bachelorette here in just a second. Golden Bachelorette, my God. We're going to talk about the Golden Bachelorette in just a second. That's the other very, very popular show that just reached a pretty key point. But Hannah, Dancing with the Stars, who do you think is going to win? Give us your prediction.
So it's Joey.
Joey
already won.
Wait, what?
So it already happened.
When?
I think it was on Tuesday. I think that was the night. But yeah, Joey from The Bachelor, he's actually the first Bachelor, I believe, in history that's been on Dancing with the Stars who's won it. There have been other Bachelors in the past that have been on. But he's, recently engaged to Kelsey. And
who's Kelsey?
She was from The Bachelor. And so, he chose her. So, yes.
Can I just say that I have seen Danny and Whitney dance. There's no way anyone beat them.
Here's the thing. They came in 5th.
What?
And I was super bummed.
There is no way they're 5th place.
I just thought, what is happening with everyone?
Well.
But
all right, well, listen, we got to get off this topic. We'll report more on that. They got screwed, okay? All right, Golden Bachelorette. This one. I know this one is over. And for those who are, this thing is a cultural phenomenon, the Golden Bachelorette. What do we need to know about this?
So, what I love about this is, the Bachelor, Bachelorette, they've really been trying to be more relatable to the audience. And the reality is, gosh, they've got couples on there that have been married for years, right? That all of a sudden, heartbreaking, lose their spouse due to illness or, divorce or just something unexpected occurs. And they have kids who are grown and probably grandkids by this point. And, everyone's been watching The Bachelor, Bachelorette for years. And having the Golden Bachelor just opens up so many doors for so many other people because I believe it's 50 plus. It might be 60 plus. I forget. I don't know the age, but it's so relatable. And honestly, the first episode of these shows you're watching, and Joan is sharing, gosh, about her previous husband, and what happened to him, and it's a tearjerker, honestly. Like, you get to know Joan and then these men that are in the show with her, and also their kids, and you're rooting for all of them. It's so difficult to, like, you don't want any of them to fail. I mean, that she only has so many roses, and the men are all cheering each other on. It's the sweetest show ever because they all want each other to win, and they're all rooting for each other.
Do you think they really do want each other to win, Hannah?
You know what? I think deep down they want to be the person that ends up with Joan, right? They all do.
Sure, who wouldn't?
But they have reached this level of maturity, and because they already have kids who are older, and they've already essentially had a spouse in the past, I think they know what they're looking for, and they're just elevated.
Right.
Versus, the drama that happens on some of these shows with the younger version, it's super disappointing. I mean, it makes for great TV because there's so much drama. But who acts like that, right? I mean, you can be in the same room with people that are different from you, that are all trying to achieve the same goal, and you can still be friends with them. Isn't that crazy? And they really show us that in The Golden Bachelor. I mean, it was a great group of guys.
I think that's great insight, and let me pick up on that because yes, I'm having a little fun with you here, I'm being facetious on that point. But look, when there's something about leadership and trying to reach goals that it actually does benefit you when you are helping others reach their goals. When you become so obsessed with you, and we all do, but when you get so obsessed with it, oftentimes let me back up on that. There's so Hannah dropped some real wisdom there about the Golden Bachelor and just the Bachelor, about leadership. When you do focus on others and help them reach their goals, you end up in a much, much better situation, whether it's leadership, maturity, and when you're in your 20s and you're on The Bachelor, it is or The Bachelorette, it is backstabbing. You are ambitious. But when you are in your 50s and your 60s, you really are rallying around each other, and it's a whole different way of looking at goals, isn't it?
Right. I mean, you're trying to build community at that point. I think there's a lot of people that try to tear others down, and for some reason it's really fun for them. I don't really understand that. But here's the thing I've learned is it takes effort to be mean to someone. It really does. You have to, like, in your mind, think about what you're going to say and how you're going to twist the message and how you're going to manipulate. And look, I've been on the receiving end of that, and I'm always just so shocked at how easy that is for some people. But let me tell you, like, it takes effort, and the good person always wins, honestly. I mean, your true character, how you treat people, the people that you have around you in your community, that all helps you in the long run to then go out and lead teams, or, be at the gym and say hi to someone new, or whatever it is. Like, you're going to be able to foster that community naturally because that's in your character. And I truly believe that there are so many people out there that just want to see others fail because that's fun for them. And they want what someone has because they themselves don't have the ability to have that. Because maybe they don't want to put in the effort. They don't want to work super hard for that goal. Or B, they just simply don't have the talent. I mean, gosh, I'd love to save people's lives. I'd love to be a doctor. I mean, I pass out at the sight of blood.
I'm glad you're not a doctor.
So
Speaking of everyone.
I'm not going to do, right?
Yeah.
So that was a bad example. But, the Golden Bachelor, and honestly, Dancing with the Stars too, like, that's just such a breath of fresh air to, everyone's cheering each other on.
Yeah.
And they're competing against each other.
Yeah. Well, I didn't expect us to go here, but you're right. That's a different way of looking at Dancing with the Stars, which I love the show. I just don't watch it. I don't prioritize it. But the Golden Bachelorette, I will tell you that the stories are incredible. And you know this, I've told you this, I don't like the show. I mean, I love the stories, but it actually makes me really uncomfortable, and I don't know why. Yet. It makes me really uncomfortable. But I will tell you what did strike me, though, is that you're right. It pops out that they all are rooting for each other. Now, so here's the challenge, everyone, for you. Whatever goal you are chasing, ask yourself the question, are you so internally driven that you're so focused on yourself that it's all about you? And I would just tell you, try it. Take a lesson from Dancing with the Stars or the Golden Bachelorette and start helping others reach that same goal, because you're right, good guys always win. And it's going to pay off for you in the long run. Take the high road. What do you think?
You win when you're helping other people. And honestly, everyone wins in that scenario. And why would you not want good for someone else, right?
That's great.
For all those people who are trying to tear others down, I mean, I would have a lot of questions about why to them. Like, why would you want to live in that state of negativity? And there's so much more to life than to be living in that space.
Okay. Well, I think you just gave us the perfect transition into this podcast episode title, because it is about defying gravity. We're going to talk about the leadership lessons that we all can learn from Wicked. Now, if you're listening to this and saying, okay, I've never seen Wicked, or I love it, or maybe you're thinking, okay, I've had it up to here with Wicked. But look, buckle up, because we have not had it up to here with Wicked. We're going to talk about this. Hannah, give everyone an update on your relationship with Wicked.
Okay, so I'm obsessed with Wicked, number one. So when I was younger, my dad got us all tickets, my whole family, to Wicked in Chicago. And seeing it live was just so eye-opening. I mean, the talent, the music, it was unreal, literally.
What year was that? That would have been 2004, 2003 maybe? But a long time ago.
Yes, it was a long time ago. And like every one of us loved it. And my siblings, my mom, we were obsessed. Then fast forward, I went with one of my best friends to Wicked in Portland because they came here last month. Yep. Once again, just the same feeling of just, wow, pure talent. We actually we found the stage door after the...
You did not? I didn't know that. Really?
And so we were waiting and, just got to talk to some of the talented musical theater cast members. I mean, they're like our idols, right?
Wait a minute. Like who? Who did you meet?
So we met the Wizard.
You did?
And then we also met, Elphaba's sister.
In the wheelchair.
Who is, it's Nessa. And I had just missed Glinda. But we had the best time. And, we were thinking there was this younger boy with his mom we're also standing by the stage door. It was just the four of us. And I remember Michael said to him, he's like, because he was in musical theater himself and he wanted to do musical theater
this is your
as
friend,
an adult.
Your friend Michael.
Yeah. So my friend Michael told this younger boy, he's like, gosh, you've got to keep doing it, because he was referring to me and him because, we are musical theater, we're so into musical theater and we did it growing up. And, once you reach our age, you're like, gosh, like, I can't go back into that again, right? But when you're young, I mean, you've got all these years to just show your talent. So we're like, stay in it. You've got this, because you could be like them coming into the stage door at Wicked and blowing us all away with your talent. And so, it was so cool to see him give that young boy that encouragement. It was awesome.
That's really good.
But Wicked definitely has a special place in all of our hearts. Number one, because of the music, I would say. When you listen to the words of some of the songs, it's really eye-opening. And there's a secret message behind each song. And I think every single person can relate to Wicked, honestly. No matter what point of your life you're in, it is just, like, I think some people don't love the hype, right? It's like, okay, Wicked, I've heard enough about it. Thank you. Especially now that Wicked, the movie, is over all the commercials. Yeah. And it's everywhere. Social, everywhere. News. So I get that some people can be a little bit over it. But I would just say give it a chance. Whether you see it live or you see the movie, it'll be so worth it. Yeah.
Good. Well, we're going to talk about some of those takeaways as for leadership examples, but I have to tell, I love Wicked as well. I'm the one who brought you to the Broadway show in Chicago. It was so good. But look, I was in London, and when I was there, I was there on business. I went over a day early so that I could attend and see Wicked in London at the London Apollo Victoria Theatre. Sorry, at the Apollo Victoria Theatre. And Hannah, I walked in. Everyone, I walked in. It was a smaller venue, and the talent on stage was just remarkable. I've never been in theater like you have, Hannah, or with Michael, but just to sit back and like you said, listen, watch it unfold and see something live like that and watch people who can do that live is just incredible. So, yes. Anything before we go into our leadership lessons?
I'm so jealous that you saw
that's
Wicked
why
in London.
that's why I brought it up.
I mean, this is what I'm saying. So my siblings and I, you know, sometimes we just get so jealous of our parents because they get to do all these really cool experiences, and then all of a sudden we'll get a text of them selfie outside of Wicked in London,
Well,
and we're sitting here like, wait, what? What are you doing right now? And so, anyways, it just blows my mind.
Well, listen, you are in leadership. You're a great leader, Fortune 5 company. They have trained you really, really well. I've been in leadership for 3 decades, corporate America, and so it's not tough to find those leadership lessons from Wicked. Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Maybe you go first.
All right. So for me, one of my biggest takeaways on leadership lessons would be, back up. Yeah. So for me, one of the big leadership lessons is the impact that we can have on others. Hannah mentioned the music. There's always a message there. One of the songs in Wicked is "For Good," and the lyrics from that song, one of them is, "Because I knew you, I have been changed for good." So for me, the biggest takeaway that as a leader is that even at very, very first, we may not want to be part of a team, or maybe you're looking at part of a brand new colleague that you're working with. We can learn from every single individual. And when we get to know others, we are changed. In this case, with Wicked, we are changed for the better. And so that's my first takeaway, that as leaders, always look for that opportunity to break out of the existing network that you're in and find new people to connect with and to learn from, because you will be changed for good just from doing that experience. So as leaders, be intentional with that. Okay, your turn, Hannah.
So I want to add one more thing to the "For Good" song, actually, because there are people that do come into our lives, and I think we might be thinking, why? Right? Like, we're just not sure. And then as you get to know that person, then you realize, okay, I think this was meant to be, or I think this was meant to teach me a lesson. And so that's always what I try to keep in my mind as I'm meeting new people, or as I'm questioning, gosh, like, how was this meant to play out in my life somewhere? And there's always a purpose to it. So that's also why I like that song as well. But I full-heartedly agree with what you're saying there. I also love the song "Defying Gravity."
Oh, go there.
So "Defying Gravity" is just powerful, and it's one of my favorite songs ever.
It's really one of the anthems of Wicked,
Right. And all about, never letting other people bring you down, which is kind of what we were referring to earlier. But there's just power in knowing your worth, believing in yourself, and really betting on yourself too. And there's always going to be those people that are maybe jealous of what you have, or are just really in this negative space in their own life. And so because you're winning at something, they maybe want you to fail. Or maybe someone doesn't know you as well and has all these preconceived thoughts, or thinking that you're one way when you're really not. There's a lot of judgment that can happen. And, with that, this song just really says, no, I am defying gravity. And it's such an awesome life lesson when you really think about it, because you can take that in your personal life. You could take that from a work perspective. But it is just, gosh, we should listen to it after this.
It's good. I think you summed it up really well. Let me just piggyback on that. It is the anthem, for me, it's the anthem of defying gravity. And I look at it as this, it's this call to action, a clear call to action. And you said it, Hannah, but one of the lyrics in the song is, "Something has changed within me. Something is not the same." And what I love about that, what speaks to me about that lyric, is that when you try new things, you do change as a result of that. I mean, a year from now, you're going to be a different person than you are today because of the experiences that you have. The difference is, are you going to be intentional about it, or are you just going to let something happen to you? And defying gravity for me, as you said, Hannah, for me, it's just really intentional, this decree, it's this statement that I am going to take action. I am going to defy gravity. In fact, the lyrics are, I think I'll try defying gravity. And my call to action, I think our call to action to everyone is, what's holding you back from taking that next step? I think Alphabet was actually floating above everybody, right?
Oh, right.
It doesn't have to be that.
Oh my gosh.
It could be a small step, the email you need to send. It's that person you need to talk to. It's that conversation that you need to have. What's holding you back? Does that spark anything, Hannah?
Yes. I mean, there's a lot of us that just coast, right? And instead of taking control of our life and doing exactly what we want to do with our lives, we just go with the flow, or maybe are with the person that we shouldn't be with for the rest of our lives, or we settle for the job or the person. Gosh, we just stay stuck in our ways. And I think the reality is it takes effort to change and to do something different. And whether that's a different job or a different person in your life, or even thinking about moving, like all of that is really scary. I think it's fear-based for a lot of people. And then the self-doubt creeps in. What if I'm not successful? What if I don't find someone? But the reality is, like, deep down, that something is off, which is why I like where you're going with this. It's like, why don't I try defying gravity? Like, I can do this if I try.
That's right. And coming back right to Dancing with the Stars and the Golden Bachelorette. My gosh, we got so many themes going. But when you surround yourself with the right people that are helping you and want to see you defying gravity, that is when some really special things can happen. So now I've got a third one, Hannah. Here we go. Ready?
Yes.
I think as leaders, it's really, back up, special things can happen. And so now leadership now, this is for you as a leader, but also think about everyone on your team or everyone that you influence. You influence so many people. Who else needs some encouragement? And put your arm around them to say, you know what, you can do more and be more. What is holding you back? Because as leaders, we can really help others defy gravity, yes?
Absolutely. Right. I mean, sometimes we can't see what others see in ourselves. So I've had that happen to myself, whether it's at work or in my personal life, where someone will ask me, hey, like, why aren't you doing this? Or, hey, have you ever thought about this? Or, hey, when you do this, it has this impact, right? And you just have no idea because you just do what you've always done. And unless someone points that out to you, you have no idea, right? So it takes others in your life to really help you succeed and grow, but also take that step towards change, whether that's improving something, whether that's starting something, or even stopping a behavior as well.
And you work with a lot of people, you help others in your leadership role. What do you see as the reason why people do not defy gravity?
I think self-doubt creeps in to a lot of people, and I've seen this in, professional workplace and also in my personal life. There is so much that we say to ourselves in our own head that sometimes no matter, your talent, you just, like, you don't think that you can go there. And it's because no one has actually told you, like, hey, you're really good at this, or hey, you know that you can do this, right? Or even just recognizing something that you're doing. I think there's a lot of people out there that just don't get recognized for anything. And after you haven't been recognized for something, gosh, you can think, am I good at anything? Or does anyone notice what I'm doing? But when you get recognized, it's like, oh, you actually care about what I'm doing, or you actually care about me. It's as simple as like sending a text to someone too. Like, hey, thinking of you, or hey, like, I love the way that you did XYZ, or hey, thanks so much for being there for me during XYZ, or right? Like there's so many little things that we can do to recognize people in our lives. And I think that doesn't happen enough. And without that light, that's when the thoughts in people's minds creep in, and the self-doubt of like, well, maybe no one notices, or maybe no one cares. And so maybe I'm not the person that's going to be asked to do this next thing, or asked to come over to that friend's house, or whatever it is. And then people just kind of spiral in their minds.
I like that. Yeah. What did you say was the phrase? You can do this, right? What did you say?
Yeah, you can do this, right? Or you know you can do this, right?
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one. All right. By the way, quick story. At my workplace, we do recognize people for jobs well done. And we try to do that pretty well. But I remember, I think I was in Atlanta at the time, and we were having this event, and we recognized people for doing a certain activity. I called her name, and she came up on stage, and there were tears in her eyes. And she shared with me afterwards that this has never happened to me before. And by the way, she was in her upper 50s, maybe 60s. So to your point, there's a lot of people that go through life and no one pays them a compliment. They don't feel like they're seen or heard, or that they matter. And there again, we as leaders can make that happen. All right, so you had something else.
Oh no, I think it's all about like who you surround yourself with too. I mean, here's the thing, like there are some really heavy family dynamics out there, right? And there are also, you have the ability to choose your friends, choose your family, right? And so I would just encourage everyone to surround themselves with people that are uplifting, people that are encouraging, because that makes a total difference. It really is the community in which you surround yourself with. I mean, I'm grateful to have, my family. My whole extended family is actually very supportive of one another, and everyone keeps in pretty close contact. And, we say the I love yous and recognize each other quite frequently. And so I've always felt, okay, like we're all on the same team. Like every single person in my family is all on the same team. And I recognize that not everyone has that. And which is where friends come in, right? Like your friends can become your family. And I've surrounded myself with a really strong group of friends that are also my family, and we lift each other up, and they really inspire me. And so I think that's also kind of the message that we're sharing about Wicked here too, which is, we're better together. And when we lift each other up, really amazing things can happen together.
All right, well, you set me up. Here's the final, well, look, we could go for hours. We're not going to. I've got the third and final big leadership lesson takeaway. You ready, Hannah?
Yes.
All right. You cannot judge. Hold on. Here we go. So you cannot judge others by their appearance. You talked about that growing up and not having people give you compliments, or Elphaba, she was born different. And she grew up having a perception of her world because she was treated differently by others, which also then is the key plot line of whole Wicked. But there's the relationship that started at Wicked. I believe oh God, here we go. Again, is it called Fiyero? Is that his name?
Fiyero.
Okay, here we go. All right, ready for the third big leadership lesson, Hannah?
Yes, I'm ready.
Hold on, I was talking to the mic. All right, you ready for the third big leadership lesson from Wicked, Hannah?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, so now think about Alpha. Here we go. All right, you ready for the third leadership lesson from Wicked, Hannah?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, for leaders, you cannot judge others by appearances. In Wicked, Elphaba, who's obviously a main character in the story, she was born different. As a result, she was treated differently, and she had a different perception of the world. And it took Fiyero, which became a love interest in the show, that in a song that was sung on a love interest in the show, in one of the songs he says or sings, "You've got me seeing through different eyes." And there's something there about, as you get to know people, they can surprise you if you just get to know them and give them a chance. And great leaders do not judge others by their appearance. What do you think on that, Hannah?
Absolutely. I mean, gosh, I think some people think appearance is everything, whether that's in your spouse or, friendships or status, right? But no, I mean, it takes effort to get to know someone and to learn what they're about. I think something that I always try to do is learn what motivates someone, what are they really passionate about? I think that says a lot about someone,
How do you do
what
that?
they care about.
How do you do that?
I just ask, right? Like, what are you into? What are you passionate about? I want to know you more.
Yeah.
And, people light up when you ask them about what they're passionate about and what their gifts are and what their strengths are, because who doesn't want to talk about what they're good at, right? But I also want to know because I care. And, I think when it comes to not judging someone by their appearance, I don't know if this has happened to you, but there's some bias that can happen, whether that's like in the workplace or in our personal lives, where maybe someone has an experience with someone and it hasn't gone as well, and so there might be this bias like, oh, it's probably not, they're probably not going to be good to you either, right? And so you can't judge that though, because like I haven't talked to this person, I don't have a relationship with this person yet. And it's so easy to write someone off, but it takes effort to say like, hey, like I actually want to get to know you as a person and let's get to know each other better. Let's see if we can have this really awesome relationship flourish. You see it at the workplace, but you see it, that could be like in your dating life too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can get into that later, but I don't know if that made sense.
It does. So what I'm hearing from that, though, is as leaders investing in that relationship, and when you can take the time to learn what lights somebody up, that just accelerates the relationship and the trust develops. Am I close on that?
Right, absolutely. Yeah. And then, you can help that person too, right? And they can help you and you can have a better friendship with someone by asking those questions as well. And taking the time. I think time is such a value nowadays. Like when someone is willing to give you the time of day, my gosh.
It's good.
That's a gift.
Great point. Full circle on this. Because I knew you, what?
I have been changed for good.
There it is, right back there. This thing is just writing itself, everybody. Okay, Hannah, anything else on leadership lessons from Wicked before we wrap this up?
Gosh, I'm just super excited to see the movie.
Yeah, we're going tonight,
wait.
aren't we?
We're going to go.
Yeah.
We're going to go. It's going to be awesome. And we're going to try not to sing in the theater.
Let's see if they can stop us. Okay, Hannah, this has been a lot of fun, being able to spend time with you here on Thanksgiving, but also coming back on the podcast. We're going to enjoy some pumpkin pie in just a minute. Okay, so Hannah, you know where I'm going with this. Every time we have the I Dare You podcast, at the end I ask my guests, what is your I Dare You challenge for all of us? So what do you think? We've covered a lot of ground. You would dare us to do what? Or try something to live a better life?
Gosh, I think everyone should try to host a cookie exchange this year. That might be a little bit more of an adventurous I Dare You challenge, honestly. I think if we were to make it a little bit more attainable, because I get it, it's a lot of it's a commitment to host a get together, right? That would be my number one. But two would be to reach out to someone in your life that you haven't talked to in a while, who actually does mean a lot to you or has in the past, and check in on them, because there's a lot that can happen in people's lives, especially during the holidays. Sometimes if you're not paying attention, you don't realize that maybe someone might be struggling, or maybe someone has had this really, really special thing happen in their life, and you just haven't had a chance to learn about it yet. And so I just encourage you to reach out to them and just catch up, check in.
It's a great one. It's something we can all do. For me, my I Dare You challenge, I'm going to go back to defying gravity, in that this is, again, it's a call to action for everyone, especially this time of year, to think about that, especially this time of year. I mean, the lyric from the song is, I think I'll try defying gravity. And I think that's it. Let's try. What is holding you back from taking those next steps? It could be huge, momentous thing. It could be, back up. It could be huge, momentous, scary things, or something very small. The point is, get into action and start getting into action, because that's where the real momentum is going. We all have these limiting beliefs, but I think this season, in the spirit of Wicked, Hannah, let's get into action and start defying gravity. So Hannah, thanks again for being part of the podcast. We are getting ready for Wicked. We're going to have a piece of pumpkin pie first, but it's been really good having you here.
Thank you so much, Dad. I seriously love your podcast. I would say I'm the biggest podcast fan, but I probably am wrong. I know there's many.
There are so many.
But it seriously is so fun to be on here with you, and I can't wait for our next one.
All right. So everyone, we're going to end with Defying Gravity. You're going to hear it coming up right about now. Have a great rest of the year and get ready because we're just less than 4 weeks from a brand new year, and it promises to be your best yet. All right, let's go do it. Let's go defy some gravity.